This is Lieutenant Sulu of the Starship Enterprise, standing by on the bridge with the Christmas song. Chestnuts roasting on an open fire.
That's a good one. Sorry, I wasn't expecting that from you, Tyler.
Tyler, do you want to take this one again?
Sure.
We're recording now.
On the umpteenth day of winteriness, the demons came. It was the dark times. For we had to do Episode 5, Season 1 of Star Trek Lower Decks, Cupid's Errant Arrow. Directed by Kim Arndt, written by Ben Joseph, first air date September 3rd, 2020. With the alternate title, as selected by me, of, and I say this as a white guy with maximum irony, Bitches Be Cray. First thoughts, gentlemen.
I thought this episode was a perfect reflection of my life. Looks at me like, what the fuck are you talking about?
No, I kind of get that feeling. I had no real impressions about this. I just thought, dumbass story. They tried, though. I could see the gooey center that they tried to aim for. I just, it's par for the course. We all get it. We don't like it. I know. We're all suffering right now. We are all suffering. But we are suffering in solidarity of Lower Decks.
Yep. I will give them credit that this is the first episode where they actually left you guessing. Is she? Isn't she? What's going on? You were left guessing up until the very end. And then they tried a twist that didn't come out the way that they probably intended. And it ended up almost being a Scooby-Doo type ending.
They ended up with an inverse twist. It's where you pretend you're going to do a twist, and then you instead hit the person.
Yeah. So
just smack them.
I don't know. It was what it was.
There was an attempt at dramatic tension.
And it had some dramatic tension.
Yeah.
But then it was like... Things. But then again, in what the thesis of this series is, it's... Haha, nerd.
Yep. Yeah, it can't land it. It's ineffective at landing it. And it falls back on that trope.
Boimler welcomes his girlfriend Barbara to the Cerritos. Mariner's like, what? Because Barbara is an attractive human female who appears to be genuinely interested in Boimler, and Mariner cannot stand for this. She decides Barb is a hostile alien, and immediately descends into conspiracism. This drives Boimler to become insecure because nerdy males, we're gonna laugh at you, not with you. Meanwhile, the Cerritos is providing support for the USS Vancouver in the controlled demolition of an unstable moon. The B-plot, I will say, was one of the best things this show has done.
I'm going to stop you for 1 second because I got to say that 9 out of 10 times, the B-plots are better than the A-plots in this show.
That's true. You're correct.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy how many times, it is kind of crazy how many times I look at the B-plot and I go, I wish that was actually the crux of the episode.
Yeah. I'm torn on that. They're definitely often better, but sometimes, like, some of the B-plots could not stand up to being the full plot.
Yeah.
Like, the one we all enjoyed of Rutherford trying the different jobs, we all enjoyed, but that could not be the A plot. That is at best a B or a C plot.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But it was
Yeah,
like
but
we
I
all
was just more invested in it. I guess that's
100%.
where I'm
No.
like, that was entertaining.
No, I agree. The issue being it's the B plots are often better, but they can't necessarily be the A plot.
Yeah.
Captain Freeman deals with alien politics involved before the destroying the moon could proceed. We're actually doing something that resembles Star Trek. Rutherford and Tandy are excited to show the much more advanced Vancouver with state-of-the-art technology. So we do have an A plot, a B plot, and a C plot this episode.
Yep.
For the C plot, after a brief competitive exercise, Lieutenant Commander Docent demands to transfer one of them to the Vancouver against their wishes, ultimately resulting in a brief scuffle involving all of them. Docent admits he just can't handle the exciting life on the Vancouver, and Wade is hoping to swap for them for a more boring ship. Mariner discovers with the many conspiracies involved between Mariner, Barb, and Boimler, and it's vaguely implied that the Mariner maybe likes Boimler or not. I don't know. They don't know what tone they want to strike with this. Mariner interrupts sexy times, knocks out Boimler. She has a bonding moment with Barbara, and then scans her and finds a parasite on Boimler, and they discover that Boimler has a parasite that makes women attracted to him. Because haha nerd.
Yep.
Barb then leaves Boimler, because I guess I don't know. Mariner and Barb finally have much in common and become good friends. Freeman goes through the thing and finds out that the one group holding up the demolition of the moon, saying that our entire planet and civilization is going to be destroyed, is just a rich guy and his wife. And she tells him to step off and destroys the moon anyways, and he just gets property damage because we actually remember this supposed.
Do you think his wife was on the planet when they destroyed it?
I think
He didn't take the time to send a shuttle down or transport her up.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is supposed to be a show about fully automated luxury space communism. And Star Trek has a long, long history of trying to smack down capitalists, as much as people like to pretend it doesn't. But it's a show that's strictly anti-capitalist. So, and there's a capitalist, and they knock his dick in the dirt, as is tradition.
This was the episode, sorry, in the last podcast, I was thinking it was this one.
Oh.
Because this bugged me how it was like they didn't ask the question how many people inhabit the moon. They just were like, oh my god, an entire civilization is going to be wiped out. You know what I mean? And he's just like hiding the fact that it's him and his wife.
See, again, for a B or a C plot, which this was the C plot, I was okay with that one because it was. I thought they did a relatively acceptable job of implying that this guy was being evasive. And yeah, if you're just like at a diplomatic summit, you're not going like, how many people are in your country? Like that's you should have that info.
I did like the whole dynamic of the boardroom and everybody arguing in it, and like that. I guess that catapulted. I know it's a C plot, but it was the only part of the plot that held my attention.
It was the only part of the plot that was Star Trek.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't feel weird about this.
No.
And I will say in the last episode, it was funny when she had to clean the holodeck waste.
Yes.
And they actually revealed that it was all full of like human fluids.
Yeah.
I mean, that's been implied previously, but
yeah. But I just like that they bleeped it out and they just went for it too, and they didn't even try. Sorry, I'm mixing the episodes, but there is some gold. I don't want people to think that it's all doom and gloom. Go watch it and form your own thoughts about it. I think that it would be healthy to do that.
I think instead you shouldn't watch this, and you should watch Big Mouth.
Oh, well, come on. Big Mouth is good.
Yeah, any time spent watching this, you should watch Big Mouth instead.
Yeah. Yep.
But I mean, you can't appreciate Big Mouth until you watch this.
Oh yeah, you
or
can't.
other shows.
Look, Phil, you just said the television version of "If you can't take me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best."
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. So then again, the B plot here was pretty simple. Just to summarize, I guess Rutherford and Tendi want a phaser. And that's
Not a phaser;
essentially
it's a tricorder.
the
Tricorder.
tricord. And
And
yeah, at the end of the day, they end up with many because
it doesn't
hilarity
matter.
ensues.
It will
Because
never
Yeah.
come up again.
that's exactly it, And I think
Yeah,
that's one
and
thing.
again, the hoarding just really bothered me because I'm like, well, how do you make all this stuff disappear?
Yeah, well,
And
Especially when it's a post-need society and they have
Yeah.
replicators. You
replicators.
just get more.
I don't
Yeah.
understand like this discrepancy between the crews. Like I get it, life is better on the Vancouver. I do get them trying to say, oh, you should want to be part of our crew and you should want to, but we get better stuff. Like, I can see them saying your ship is older, and they did play that angle in this.
Yep.
Like your starship is kind of beat up, and you're having to fix things, and that makes you busy. Whereas we're a well-oiled machine, and you're part of a crew, and blah 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 blah.
But you have their one captain or whomever he is who wants out of all the fun and exciting missions that they're up against.
Yeah,
So
and he's just like, I want to get out of here because this is just too much pressure.
Yep.
Which again, I appreciated it, even though it's not really too Star Trek-y and whatnot. I appreciated that sentiment and whatnot from him. I thought that was kind of a funny thing.
Yeah.
It was just weird that he had to set them up and was gonna going to transfer them there so he could transfer back in
Hey.
their stead. And
just like
But
this
that's-
episode where we're only 12 minutes in and we're done talking, you got to fill the show with something.
true enough.
So I do want to talk about, and I'm going to get some eye rolls from this, but the portrayal of Mariner and Barbara in this episode especially is bizarre and reeks of a joke out of the 90s of like, oh, this is magic hormones. Whoa. Whoa.
Yep.
And
Yep.
it's just like how much, I don't know. It would have been better if Barbara was just like, yeah, I just like him. And
Mhm.
Mariner, you're being over worried. And then the reveal was that Mariner just genuinely cares about him as a friend and wants to protect him.
Yep.
But no, he can't have happiness because he is a nerd, and the nerd must be punished.
Exactly.
This is so weird. Like you're pointing it out and you're right. I'm not arguing that you're correct in your haha nerd. What bothers me though is that when we look at the past like 10 years and you look at societal trends, like that's the reason why this podcast exists, because we're nerds on the internet.
Yeah.
Like Big Bang Theory wasn't a sleeper hit. Like, you know what I mean? Like that was a celebrated nerd, maybe not an accurate portrayal, but it still was like people were eating it up and going, oh, the nerds are kind of cool. You know, it made the pop culture argument that the lughead guys are like they're meatheads and blah blah blah. The jocks are this way and the nerds are this way, and we're gonna do a deep dive into nerd culture and enjoy all things nerd. And they're gonna play Halo, and they're gonna do what we did growing up, like, and he's gonna get the hot girl because he can. And then you get this show that craps on nerds, which is so counter-tied.
Which is why I'm actually surprised that a lot more people who like Star Trek, who are more nerds, who are whatever, ate this show up and loved it. Because they literally just shat on you, made fun of you, pointed, gave you noogies while they're at it, and and that's it. And you're loving it. Like it's the reaction to the show is just weird because the show's not funny. The show makes fun of Star Trek. The show shits on all core Star Trek ideologies, and people are eating it up.
You know what? As much as they assert to the contrary, I don't think a lot of people making this show love Star Trek.
Oh, you can tell people making this show maybe watched a couple episodes of The Next Generation, Voyager,
Yeah.
Deep Space Nine, and then they wrote
Probably
an
not Deep
episode
Space
of
Nine.
fan
Be too
fiction.
slow for them.
Yeah, actually, you're right. Um,
Because I like
or
Deep
the
Space Nine, but
movies,
that's a
or the
slow
movies.
show.
It is. Deep
They
Space
watch
Nine.
the new movies. They watch
Yeah.
the new movies
Yeah.
with
Well,
Pine.
Zachary Quinto is Spock, isn't it? Who's this Leonard
Yeah.
Nimoy guy?
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
they wrote a 22-minute episode.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. I mean, I'm
It's
with
so
you, Phil.
weird, but people actually, you're telling me people like this? Has it been renewed for a second season? Do
We
know?
signed for 2 seasons originally, I believe.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, I hope it gets better. But it's weird that if Star Trek fans are enjoying this, I would
Ugh.
genuinely be shocked.
It's
But
got a
maybe
60
it's a different level of. Maybe this is millennial Star Trek fans
No.
who are fed.
I mean,
up.
I'm a millennial,
Yeah, fair enough.
so I mean, it's
I'm-
got
I'm-
a. Oh, yeah, go for it.
No, I'm baffled. I'm baffled.
I mean, it's got a 65% on Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb, and it's the lowest viewed Star Trek ever. Like, it is lower viewed than any Star Trek show ever made.
Interesting.
And critics, I don't know, it's one of those shows where it seems that critics are harsher on it than a lot of the audience. And maybe that's just what it is the audience just a lot of people who don't go with that critical lens, you know? They have
Well,
their
like,
beer.
critical
or,
lens, and maybe they're watching it on their phones. Not gonna
or
lie,
again,
like if you watch it on these small devices, it's easy to get distracted, and then you just look at it and go, "Oh, haha, look at him!" Oh,
that's what I was going to say. Or they're on their
moron.
phone while they do it.
Yeah, it was weird distribution up here in Canada too. It was on the Sci-Fi Network. It had a linear date. It's on Crave, which is, probably one of the more Canadian prominent, but I don't know how many people. It is tough to Crave search engine's weird, but
Yes.
every time I have to look for a show, I'm very scared about what I type in and what I'll get. And not in that, oh my god, it's dirty way. No, it's just trying to actually find your show.
So according to Rotten Tomatoes, critics like it more than the audience.
What?
Critics gave it a 65. The audience has given it 44.
There you go.
Yay, the people have spoken. We are one with the people.
Yeah, I don't know.
They're smoking.
Yeah.
Weird.
Wow.
Even
I mean,
if I take this show, like even if they remove the Star Trek name from it, and you have this, like we said yesterday and the day before, calling it Galaxy Quest or something, it's still not a good show.
No.
So I would argue that if they were able to just do it as Galaxy Quest and could play around with what is and isn't canon more, they'd be able to do a good show instead of making it milquetoast.
Yeah.
Because I think so much now is them like still kind of sort of trying to be on side and failing.
I don't think that they have the talent. I'm sorry.
Well, look, I think they could if they were allowed to be much more irreverent. And they could get away with like, oh, I watched this one episode of Star Trek, and here's the stupid shit about it. And you can do that better in a Galaxy Quest where you're making fun of it instead of trying to be a satire within the universe.
Well, it's effed because the only reason why I want to watch it is because it's Star Trek. If you told me, like, honestly, I haven't watched one episode of The Orville.
Fair.
And I know that it's infinitely better because it's Seth MacFarlane and I like his writing. And
Sure,
you know
okay.
what? When Disney Plus get, whatever avenue so I can watch The Orville under whatever distribution right comes up to Canada, or if Crave picks it up, I'll watch The Orville.
Yeah.
Sure. But
Yeah.
the only reason why I'm watching this is because of availability and the Star Trek name. And I think if you lose that and call it Galaxy Quest, it loses an audience.
Well, it doesn't have us watching. I don't think I would watch this, to be honest.
Like we may catch half an episode and be like, oh, that's crap. And even that being said, first season shows they struggle, especially early, with
I
the
mean,
writing and the characters.
it lost 10% of its audience between episode 1 and 2.
There you go. That's a huge drop off.
So for, oh wait, I might have some good number, it's not in the top 30, so it's getting on average less than. Yeah, so for some context, Simpsons gets about 2.5 million viewers an episode. South Park averages 800,000. Doctor Who gets like 2.
Like 2
200
people.
No, like 2 million. Doctor Who has a big viewership.
Oh, nice. Okay, great. That's a good number.
According to a source, it's being reported that episode 2 of Lower Decks had a 220,000 viewership on its initial run.
There you go.
That's a
And
bad
it's also hard.
level.
It's also hard though because this is on CBS All Access, so it's hard to kind of gauge ratings from.
Well, yeah. The counterpoint being, if it had good ratings, CBS would be bragging.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
As they do with Discovery, right? Like, and rightfully so. It's a good show.
Well, again, online only, right? So there's only so much of an audience that you can get.
Online only for paid subscription, right? You have to pay to get it.
Well, that's what I mean. Like it's a very niche market that they're getting, but they're getting the more loyal and the most loyal of fans watching the show.
Well, I can almost guarantee you, like, Discovery gets pirated and distributed amongst Star Trek
Sure.
fans.
Well, for sure. I'm just saying, but what's counted towards the official numbers?
Yeah. That's where all this kind of falls down, though, is the world we live in now and the distribution tactics that companies take with the properties.
Discovery got 1.7 million opening week.
Exactly.
For the September 24th episode.
Yep.
Like, that's what, 8.5 times what Lower Decks gets.
Yeah. Well, you know what? That's what happens. You put out a risky product and you don't have the development backbone behind it.
Yeah.
You know, it should have come out. We know it's Star Trek. There's no excuse at this point. I get it when you're launching the next generation and you haven't done Star Trek outside of a TV show since 1960, right? Like the 60s.
Yeah.
So I get that there's trepidation and writing challenges and character development challenges. And then I also get that when you finish that arc and you go to Deep Space Nine, you're a little bit icky. And I also get that you can have some things off, but there are strong episodes early on that kind of float the ship. I'm hoping we find it because it's looking like turds in the toilet here.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm waiting for that. The good turd. I don't know.
I think we passed it already. All right, guys. Any final words before we go? Phil?
I think my turd comment stands for this show.
Tyler?
I really would like to be saved from this this terrible hell we find ourselves in.
Well,
I can definitely say, guys, that I'm gonna try and give you a good Christmas gift for my present coming up, because this I don't want to really. It's already painful doing the 12 days of craptacular with Lower Decks.
So I thought about getting us all to watch Legion because it's on Netflix in Canada right now, and it is the worst movie ever made. I thought about that movie for a treat for us all to laugh at it, but I think I'm gonna go for something good instead.
Legion was pretty good though. I laughed at it.
Sorry, you laughed at it. It's not supposed to be funny.
Oh, I know, but it was just funny.
It is. That movie is dead serious though. That movie really wants you to know that Jeep, a character named Jeep, is the hope for humankind.
Yep.
Because he needs to save fetal alcohol syndrome Jesus.
Yep.
Because the mom of the second Messiah drank and smoked while pregnant. That's what this movie's about.
This movie was like a serious version of that movie with
Dogma?
No. I think the movie was called Michael.
Yep. No, because this was like Michael was like a fun rom-com.
That's what I mean. This is the serious version of that.
Yeah, look. One of the opening lines is God got tired of all the bullshit.
Well,
that's some crack writing there.
Look, they got Paul Bettany to play the Archangel Michael, and he was like, "Do you want me to get into shape or something?" And they were like, "Bleh, don't worry about it."
Is that the one where they had the big fight in the pool at the end?
In the
I'm
pool at the
else.
end? That's
oh,
something
what the
else.
fuck are you watching, Phil?
Oh no, I was thinking of Constantine at the end.
Jesus.
Yeah,
That was a fun movie.
Constantine was okay.
Yeah,
It was all right.
Keanu.
All right, Phil.
All right, we're off topic.
Or
All right,
just like the show, we're on topic.
It's all in canon.
Fair enough. It's all in canon.
Apparently.
No, that's what we hear. So if you're looking for us on the internet, like seriously, talk to Santa. All right. I know he's not at your local malls this year, but he might be creeping around your neighborhood or passed out somewhere. I don't know, but we got to hook up with Santa. But you can also find us at the internet if you got a computer or one of these phone things. You can find us on
at the internet.
Because that's literally the only place where you can find us.
Well, of course, you can go to www.itscanonpodcast.com. Boris redid the site. It looks really good. We're all extremely happy about that. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at It's Canon Podcast. You can email us at show@itscanonpodcast.com. You can subscribe via Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, Amazon, really anywhere you find podcasts, including iHeartRadio. You're going to find the It's Canon Podcast. And if you like what you hear, be sure to subscribe because then you get notified about our zany crap like 12 Days of Christmas that we have dropping just randomly all over the place leading up to Christmas. And, you can leave us a rate and review. We would greatly appreciate that. And thanks so much for taking the time to listen to us.
Yep. He's Phil. He's Tyler. I'm Boris. Let's get some sleep because tomorrow we're back and we're going to be discussing episode 6 of Star Trek Lower Decks. Goodbye and good night.